Good afternoon, guys. Jordan here with the Nutty Gnome Homestead. We are here a couple days before Easter 2023, and we are getting ready to make sausage. So what we have here is about 30 pounds of pork that was frozen and cut into fist-sized chunks, and we're going to get ready to run it through the grinder here. First thing that we do is we make sure everything is clean, and then we put everything that comes off of the grinder, we put it in the freezer. We want to keep this as cold as we possibly can before we run it through the grinder. The grinder will produce heat while it's grinding all this meat. And if it starts to get too warm, the meat is going to gum up and it's going to be a mess. So we want to deal with cold meat and a cold grinder. Okay, guys, so I zoomed y'all in here so you guys can see this a little better. So like I was saying, all the meat is frozen or partially frozen. The grinder, all the metal parts were put in the freezer. They were in there for about an hour, so everything's nice and cold. We're going to run this through there. This is a 1-horse grinder, so it's not going to take long to grind this 30 pounds. It's going to be a little loud, but I'm going to try to get this done real quick. So now that we have this ground the first time, I'm going to change out my grinding plate and grind this through a second time. Put the new grinding plate on, put our guard on. Now, you could certainly use this the way it is to make sausage. There's nothing wrong with it. It'll just have a much coarser texture. But we're going to be making kielbasa, and we want a little bit smoother texture. So I'm going to go ahead and load this tray up again, and we're going to get this going. Okay, folks, so we have 5 pounds of ground pork, and with Easter right around the corner, we are going to be making a kielbasa biała serowa, or a white sausage, which essentially is just a raw kielbasa that has not been smoked. So to this 5 pounds of pork, what we are going to add is 2 to 3 cloves of minced garlic, fresh is best, but the canned stuff will work, 4 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of fresh marjoram if you have it. If not, the dry stuff will suffice. So I already have our spice mix already made up. Now I'm going to bring you guys in, and we're going to get this mixed up and stuff it into some casings. So to this meat, we're going to add our seasoning, and we're going to massage this in and make sure everything gets well incorporated. Now, I like to use gloves for this just to make the whole process a little cleaner. But since we're only making a 5-pound batch of this unsmoked kielbasa, this is going to go really, really quick. Typically, we make batches of kielbasa 20 to 30, sometimes even 40 pounds at a time. So all you're going to do is just massage this in. And we kept this in the refrigerator while we were getting our grinder and table and everything all cleaned up, ready to go. So it's nice and cold. Our stuffer over here is also nice and cold. We actually stored it in the refrigerator while we were working. So we want to make sure everything stays cold, cool. We want to make sure the meat is just on the verge of not quite being frozen. The gloves help with that. Make sure it doesn't get your fingers hurting. We're going to mix all this seasoning up, and then we're going to stuff it into this sausage stuffer here. Now this sausage, since it's raw, is typically made poached, roasted, fried, or sometimes even grilled, and is typically served on Easter with a sour rice soup or zarek. You guys might see a recipe for that in the future as well. So that looks pretty good. We're going to get our sausage stuffer over here, and we're going to get this ready to go. Now you folks will have to excuse me. I'm trying to work around the camera on this. This is an 11-pound sausage stuffer. I've been making sausage all day. Our technique for filling the sausage stuffer is to make a ball and throw it in, and after you get a couple of these meatballs thrown in there, you can see there's all kinds of air pockets around there. We're going to take our fist, we're going to shove it down into the horn, and we're just going to punch out those air pockets. And we're going to continue filling this stuffer. Alright, so that looks pretty good. We got all the meat packed in there pretty good. We're going to put it back here into our base. And lock it into place. So I've already preloaded this horn with some 32 to 35 millimeter natural hog casing. Now this hog casing has been soaked 3 times in some warm water, rinsed out, and we just slipped it right onto the horn of this sausage stuffer. We're just going to tie a simple knot right here in the end of the casing, and we're going to feed that right back up to the knot. Now, I know there's going to be air in this horn, so I'm going to use my sausage breaker and poke a hole just in the end. And I'm going to go ahead and start cranking on my handle just until we start to see meat right at the end of the tube. You see that little push of air? Means we're getting close. And there we go. So now I'm going to put 2 fingers underneath the horn and support the rest of the sausage with the rest of my finger. And I'm going to let this feed itself off of here. You want a nice plump sausage, but you don't want it overstuffed. Overstuffed sausages tend to have an accident where they burst open, whether while you're stuffing or while you're cooking. Just go nice and slow. Let the stuffer naturally feed the sausage off of the casing off of the horn. And if you find that your horn is starting to stick a little bit, just lubricate it with a little bit of olive oil. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to get this into a coil. I'm just putting a little bit of water on my pan to make sure everything can slip and slide around. See how much easier that slides around? Sorry about that, folks. Like I said, I'm working around the camera here. Normally, I'm pretty quick at this. This is the easy part. What you guys are hearing is there is a valve on top of this sausage stuffer that bleeds off the pressure and the trapped air in the canister. You want a nice, even, plump sausage. And that's it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to feed some of this casing down. And there's probably close to a quarter to a third of a pound left in the horn and in the very bottom part of the throat of our sausage stuffer here. We will get that out here in just a moment. We're going to take about 6 inches of casing off. We're going to cut it. And I like to feed this back over the end of the horn so I don't lose the end. We're going to push that last little bit down, and then we're going to tie a knot. And folks, this is how we make our sausage for Easter on the Nutty Gnome Homestead. So that is all there is to making this white sausage, or raw white sausage, for Easter. This was just 5 pounds of ground pork that we ground right here on the farm. Most of the herbs we grow here, our marjoram, our garlic, we do it right here on our farm. A little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt, and you guys are good to go. There is no Instacure or cure number 1 in this sausage, since it is a raw sausage that you're going to cook either by poaching, roasting, grilling, frying, so on and so forth. You don't need any kind of cure. So until next time, I appreciate you guys coming along. I'm sure we'll be having a couple more sausage recipes coming up here in the future. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to shoot me a message or an email. I'd be happy to help you if I can. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let me know. Till next time, y'all be safe.